Anthony Fantano, you're the internet's laziest music nerd. Why haven't you reviewed my new album, Your Mum Gay?
We're gonna throw a party. Let's run it up, yeah. We'll invite everybody. Let's blow it up, yeah. Let's blow it up, yeah.
Hello and welcome to Midtone Reviews. Today I'm going to be reviewing the new Marshmello album, Joytime III. So, as many of you already know, Marshmello is an electronic artist slash producer who's produced many different works and that. And yeah, very mainstream. He's been on YouTube Rewind once or twice, and yeah, he is quite a mainstream electronic artist. And yeah, some of his stuff, personally to me, sounds a bit dated from sort of the dubstep era of earlier this decade. But yeah, let's just see what is in this album, Joytime III. So one of the things I will say and I take out of this album is it is very similar compared to some of his work. I wish he did change it up, but it is very much a Marshmello album. You could tell that it's him, and he's got his sort of footprint on the album. And yeah, he doesn't really change it up. There's some beats that sound a bit like trap sort of stuff. They have to do sort of thing. And yeah, he tries to do it so it sounds like it's a bit more in sort of 2019 compared to maybe 2011, 2012, but it just doesn't really work because he still has these sort of big dubstep beats in there. Some tracks have some dubstep beats and some dubstep drops that are really bad. Like Put Your Hands Up, it just doesn't sound very good, it just sounds really dated. The album is high in energy, but it's just a bit like not very controlled. It's very all over the place, like this video probably. Yeah, there's some traces of pop punk in this album, which sound very weird because it's Data. Remember, they feature on one of the tracks later on in the album, and it just doesn't really sound that good. It adds to the more datedness, sounding like some sort of weird mix-up of some early 2000s pop punk, and it just doesn't sound very good. Some of the vocals on this album are very all over the place. They don't really have a style. The style of the vocals change all the time. The album mellows out during the middle of the album, and yeah, it just doesn't really have the energy which the other tracks did have, and they sort of had a bit more of a punch to them. But the middle of the album with some of the tracks here and there just don't sound very good. They just sound a bit boring and a bit bland. There's some tracks like Earthquake where it's just so overproduced and overlaid that it just doesn't sound as good. It actually hurt my ears. I know that it tries to take some sort of vocal sort of performances from The Prodigy, especially with Earthquake, but many of the tracks do seem like they're overproduced and sort of overlaid and too much going on, and it just hurts my ears, to be honest. Set Me Free is one of the stronger tracks, but it still sort of sounds a bit weird. It's a bit out of place in this album. It sounds a bit more sort of house styled in terms of this style, and yeah, it just doesn't sound like it should be placed in this album. It's sort of the only track that tries to do something a little bit different. It sounds like something that you'd hear in Superdry. I know I've said that in the last album, but it really does. And Long Life, yeah, definitely a weaker track. There's some really strange instrumentals, and like I said, very overlaid, overplayed, and it just doesn't sound like it's really been thought out. It just sounded like, oh yeah, I'm just going to add this in, that in, that in, that in, that in, that in, and it just sounds like a sort of complete and utter mess. So I know this review hasn't been very long and it's a bit all over the place, but yeah, overall I didn't really enjoy this album. It sounded sort of similar to some Marshmello stuff in the past, maybe with a bit more trap and a bit of pop punk here and there with some of the guitars and some of the vocal performances. But overall, this album isn't very good. It's a very weak album. So overall, unfortunately, I'm only going to give this a 2 out of 10. Also, another thing I'm going to add to the end of this video, I have recently made a Death Grips documentary, a mini documentary on my portfolio channel, Punk Draft Productions. I think you should go and check it out if you are a fan of Death Grips. So yeah, please check it out. And yeah, again, I'll see you in 2 days' time.